11th is the Good Guy of the Year 2001, Dick Grinder. Ladies and gentlemen, Dick will probably want to walk around the hall and say hi to everybody. You don't have to sit down right now, Dick, if you want to look around.
Put the camera
Dick,
down.
whatever you want.
Hey, Dick! Hi.
Before you get away,
Congratulations, well deserved.
before you get away, Dick. Congratulations.
You're welcome. Congratulations.
How you doing? I'm Harry Cunningham.
Hi.
Quiet. Never met. I've never met you.
Are you serious? You're Cunningham, but I'd like to be part of the team. Thank you very much.
Here's your invitation.
Thank you. Let me say hello. I went on the dive this last time I came.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Don't break your camera.
Oh, we're gonna try not. You have to run it.
This guy. Did you say more about him?
Well, you like it? Yeah, sure. Hey, you want to walk around with us for a while? You want to sit down? Why don't you take a few minutes? It's, no rush. Oh, go ahead, Dick.
He just recognized you. What's your She's a last year. She's a last year's victim. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
You probably
My memory.
saw that tape. My husband did this summer.
He's going to get
Week! It's been more than a week.
Vic, you going to take your husband around? Really no rush. I'll announce things just go.
Congratulations. Thank you, John. Scratch your eye. All the rowdies out there.
You look a little surprised.
Well,
Congratulations. You know some of these people here?
some of them look familiar.
I have to stand by and hold them up.
You handled it very well.
I didn't drop the camera.
You wouldn't tell you if you did.
Well, it's hard to keep a secret. It's very hard. But I was trying to keep it years and years ago. Oh, I know. That's why I had these people
No, you're paying
and I had to work on
Dick, I even put a tie on for you.
I had a tire for him.
Yeah, I know.
And the church was actually
Amy, and your car I wondered.
He's not as stupid as the Tony was. Look at him.
You got him out. No way under the table.
Congratulations.
Did you see these people last night?
Oh, boy.
Too much of a good thing, huh?
Yeah, whatever you want me to
Hey, did you tell them how to dress up tonight? Oh.
Okay, here we go.
No.
John was just telling me we were dropping you off last night. He almost went.
Make me feel so old. Oh, okay. Yeah, lost in a burning. So fun.
There, right?
Everyone got here. Thank you. They're almost crumbled as good.
50th anniversary.
They're well preserved. Congratulations. Couldn't have given it to him again.
Thank you. Oh. What? Oh, don't trip on the water.
It's been a tough week.
I bet tag.
Trying to hide
Dick, congratulations. They're
All the way from
very
London.
much
Congratulations, Jack. How are you? Good. So, yeah. This is Captain Clifford, visiting us from London. And all the way for your party. Marie.
But she's Irish, Dick. Oh, don't get anything wrong. She's Irish. She couldn't fly from Dublin to
She's just taking advantage of the scenery. Congratulations. Nice to see you.
You'd be surprised.
Congratulations, Dick.
A bit. And we pulled it off.
She is good. She's sneaky.
Congratulations, Richard. My wife, Alana.
Hi, congratulations. You were surprised.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Remember this little guy?
I'm not a guy. Congratulations. Yeah, nice to see you. Oh, yeah.
Oh, did they? Congratulations, Jack.
Couldn't have happened to a better guy.
Boy, do you look good dressed up. Boy. To be a cameraman, you did an excellent job. You pictures of You're the nicest cameraman I've ever seen.
Look behind you.
Yeah, I always knew he was a good guy. I always knew that.
I say we get someone to stand in the middle of the table and just spin around in circles taking pictures.
You can do that.
There was some indication.
I don't think you've ever I have a feeling he was
You made my night.
I had nothing to do with it, but I think, we'll find out. I had nothing to do with it. Table challenge. Amy was awesome. Hey, so you want to go down there? All right.
Did she make it?
Amy did all these little place cards
Wow.
and a lot of things in here. She did a table and a table around the aisle.
Congratulations. It's been hard to keep this a secret.
I've been overwhelmed the last month. Look at the serious.
Billy and Becky.
Boy, they're there more than you are, honey. I hear it was very difficult to find this morning. We had a real hard time this morning.
I didn't tell anybody. And I usually, so I was good this time. I usually have a boost in the
Congratulations. Good, thank you. Yep.
You're truly a good guy.
Well, I got some indication. Yeah, but I didn't. This is overwhelming. Hi, Marcia.
I was going to bring
We have her friendship now, girl. We even have a square dance table that we didn't know.
I have a book of 1,000 to 1 baby. 1,000 to 1 baby.
That's all right. Congratulations.
Hey, Finder. Hey, Dick. Yes. Hey, Finder, we're going to eat in about 10 minutes, but because Senator Tara's here. When he's here, we eat. Oh, congratulations.
Could have been a nicer guy.
Oh, Dick. I thought you were supposed to be filming today.
He's supposed to have the camera.
No, not Jay. Hey,
Hi, Mrs. W.
Hi. Congratulations. Were you surprised?
Somewhat. Pretty though. Not completely, but there've been a lot of decorating.
This is awesome. They're talking.
Yeah, thank you.
They don't know.
We'll talk to you later, Dick.
Behind them. You know Mary?
Yeah, hi, Mary. What is it? Hey, Bill. Don't get up. Stay down there. You didn't have to get up. I would have reached over. We old guys got to stick together.
It's so nice and quiet. You screw everything up.
Oh, Vimy, you don't have to get up.
She's up. Let her up. It's good for you. She needs exercise.
Mrs. Grinder.
Then Tracy found out why I wanted to hockey for Wilmington High.
Down to Mrs. Grinder. Unless you're running for office.
Keep going, quick. We'll talk to you after. Go, we'll talk to you after.
I know you got to eat now. You're right. The young guy.
Well, they're not tired. They're not tired.
I will. You don't know that. The meal is about to be served, but as soon as the head table is seated, I'll introduce them. We're missing a couple of people. The guest of honor. So I'm going to split this up. Dick's son Dick or Dick's son Richard. And to my right is Ellen and Paul Hojak. Ellen being Dick's daughter, and the husband she married would be the son-in-law. Okay. My name is Harry Cunningham. I'm the master of ceremonies tonight. I'm going to skip the next fellow. To his right is Peggy Grinder, wife of tonight's good guy.
To his left here.
To his left. She just moved. To her left is Vasya's good guy, Joan Searfus, and her good guy of 31 years, Dick Searfus. And to my immediate left is the good guy for the year 2001, Dick Grinder. We're going to start off and show you, for an example, one of the letters was written with Dick Grinder in mind. And it's a young lady, Bertha DePrez. Bertha's in the audience someplace. She's here. She's coming to the podium, and she's going to read. I've never met Bertha before, but I see our next speaker will be Jim Maselli. That way I won't have to adjust the microphones twice.
You're hot tonight.
How's that? How's that?
Thank you very much.
Okay. We can hear out there? Make a good looking couple you want.
Dear Good Guy Committee, I would like to nominate Richard Grinder for the Good Guy Award. I have known Richard since we moved into Wilmington 28 years ago. My husband and he were in Boy Scouts together. Richard took on the job of acting scoutmaster when the congregational troop found themselves without a scoutmaster at the time. He held his institutional representative position on the Lowell Council. He has been institutional representative for more than 20 years. He worked on many jamborees, camporees, and anything else that was asked of him. Richard is an Eagle Scout. Richard is on the executive board of the 40 Acres, trying to improve for the youth of Wilmington. There were many weekends that they worked clearing brush, fixing buildings, and repairing roads, and many other things at 40 Acre Camp. He also worked very hard for his church, holding many positions there. He is involved in the Sunday school program. He is a deacon, and you can always see him setting up things whenever the church has an event, such as Christmas bazaar, band concert, rummage sale, or the coffee hour. When Wilmington TV cable station started, Richard was one of the first people to learn how to work the cameras, do the editing, and to make it presentable for viewing. I have seen him around town taking pictures of ponds, streams, in order to do a documentary for conservation. He has spent many hours filming different club activities around town. During the 4th of July town celebration, you can always see him taking pictures on the common. Richard is also a member of AIM, the group in town who helps the handicapped. He tries to make new members feel at ease with introducing them and finding out what their interests are. He, in his quiet way, helps those who need assistance getting their lunch and helps by picking up the plates and trays when they are through. He is a real faithful member and an asset to us at AIM. At special events, he will sign out a camera and take pictures of the group. He edits it and brings in a TV so that the people can see it at AIM. There are many people who come to AIM who do not live in Wilmington, and there are some that live in Wilmington that do not have cable, therefore would not be able to see it. I am sure I have just hit the tip of the iceberg of the things that Richard does. He is one of the silent people that work very hard trying to help someone else. Thank you for your time. Yours truly, Bertha DePrez.
I wanted to be with you this evening, but unfortunately I'm away. And when I found that was going to be the case, it made me sad, because when I found that Dick had been named the good guy of Wilmington for this year, it was not only not a surprise to me, I was thrilled that the rest of the community would know everything about him that we've known for a long, long time. When I think of Dick Grinder, there are three words that come to mind almost immediately. The first is humble. Dick has, as I'm sure you know, done many, many things in his life. He's a graduate of West Point. He was a military man for a number of years and served faithfully his country. He served in a number of other roles, and he served our church and this community faithfully over the years. And yet with all of that and all that he does, humility is one of the first things that he expresses. He doesn't talk about himself. He talks about other people. He focuses in on their needs and their cares and the issues that are important to them. He cares about families, and he cares deeply about the heart of children. And that's been important to him as he's ministered in our church and cared for a long time. The second word that I think of is dedicated. When he puts his shoulder to the wheel, sticks to the task that he has at hand. When I arrived at the church, Dick was serving as the moderator of our church community and also as our Sunday school superintendent. Currently, he serves as a deacon, and that, I think, is only the official title because he serves in so many other capacities. He regularly films our worship service so that we can share it with the community at large. And there are task after task that he takes care of that almost no one knows about. Certainly he has been a liaison for years with the Boy Scouts, but that relationship to the church in virtually every capacity has been something that people see over and over again. His dedication is unquestioned. But maybe the word that best describes Dick is the word integrity. There is nothing more that I see in him when I talk to him than his integrity. Several months ago, I was in the midst of one of the worship services, and Dick was filming it, and I told a humorous story. I told it as if it were true in order to have the impact be most significant. But Dick recognized and knew that it wasn't a true story. I wasn't sure whether it was obvious or not from my telling, but he suggested to me that he didn't think that that was the best thing to do. Well, you know, a pastor wants to keep his integrity intact as well, so I listened to Dick and made that comment to others at another time. His desire to maintain an integrity, not only for himself, but for those whom he cares about and whom he touches in his daily life, is incredibly significant. Dick Grinder is a special man, and he deserves not only the recognition as a good guy, but as a special friend to all of those who know him. If you do know Dick, you know he is both humble and dedicated, but most importantly, he has integrity in everything he does. Dick, congratulations, and I hope you have an absolutely wonderful evening tonight. Thank you.
Once a fellow is nominated for the good guy, we decide to throw the time in his honor. We are exposed to things not only that he does in town, but things he has done in his past. Some of the things are humorous, as you heard earlier tonight. But something is very serious. It caught our attention at the Good Guy Committee, and has nothing to do with him being in the town of Wilmington. But we noticed his record that was mentioned by the good pastor, his military record. And I'm not going to say any more about the record, but we have a gentleman here in town who is someone we're very proud of. His name is Joe Hodka. Now, Joe Hodka, while being an outstanding citizen himself, is also very proud of his military heritage. And when it comes time to speak or anything in the military, Joe Hodka is the one that comes forth. And it's my pleasure to introduce Joe Hodka.
Thank you, Harry. Last time we were together at one of these functions, Harry made me promise to keep my comments to within 20 minutes. I assure you I'll stay within the 20 minutes tonight, Harry. I've been asked to act as a representative of the veterans organizations here in Wilmington to provide you with some background information concerning Dick Grinder's military experience. This is not because we have any commonality in the military. Dick's time was all spent in the Army, and mine was spent in the U.S. Navy and Marine Corps. However, time spent in the military has been a big part of Dick's adult life. After he graduated from high school in 1950, Dick was accepted as a cadet at the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, New York. Dick graduated from West Point in 1954. His first duty station was at Fort Bliss, Texas, where he received basic artillery officers training. By the way, this is also in the same time frame that he married his wife, Peg. Dick next received Ranger training at posts in Georgia and Florida. His next tour of duty was with the occupation forces in Korea in 57 and 58. Dick was then stationed in Germany with the NATO forces for 3 years in the early 60s. Dick's last tour of duty was in Vietnam during the years 1967 and 1968. Dick was discharged in 1968 after 14 years of active duty. At the time of his discharge, Dick had reached the rank of captain. If you haven't noticed the materials down on the table at the back of the hall, you'll see a lot of the ribbons and medals that Dick earned, you know, over the 14 years, and also a lot of the Boy Scout awards that he received over the years. You might note in particular that one of the awards was the Bronze Star. Another one of the awards was a commendation medal from one of his senior officers. There's also a National Defense Medal there with an oak leaf cluster and a Vietnam service ribbon with one battle star. Obviously, with Dick's record, he could have become a member of the VFW or the American Legion, whichever he preferred, but he didn't choose to do so. But Dick, wherever you see any ceremonial where you see the veterans, such as on Memorial Day, Veterans Day, 4th of July, the Korean Veterans Memorial that they did last year, Dick is always there. So he's with the veterans whether he belongs to the organization or not. We thank Dick for the years of his life that he's committed to the military service as a protector of our freedom. Dick, I'd like to give you a little token as a reminder of this occasion when we recognize your military service. This you can put up with your paraphernalia on the table. An American flag and the U.S. Army flag. That's it, Harry.
Joe, thank you very much for two reasons. One, for being short. But all kidding aside, very proud. I'm sure the United States government is proud of Joe Hartka, and the people of Wilmington certainly are. I'm proud to call him a friend. We're going to our rehearsal. Time out. Tom is Polish. The table up front, Tom. That's the third time tonight. I was on the way through Boston the other day, and again, I am a big fan of the Big Dig. And I noticed something very strange about the Big Dig, or unique. First of all, the Big Dig, I'm suppose a lot of people know, that is the first and largest undertaking of any highway project in the United States. Fact. It is the first tunnel of that magnitude to be built in the United States. It's going to be actually 10 lanes of automobiles. It's going to be the first bridge of that construction built in the United States and the whole free world. And it's also the first bridge in the last 20 years built in Massachusetts that was not named after Jim Maselli. And here's the bridge builder himself, the rep, Jim Maselli.
And it's a pleasure for me to be here tonight, joining with you and this great crowd out there of family and friends in paying tribute to you. I've got a couple of citations, and one I think is kind of historical. It's signed by Jane Swift, Governor, and it's the first one I've presented from our new governor. And it's the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Jane Swift, Governor, and that's probably going to open up a whole lot of jokes from Harry. To Richard Grinder, in recognition of your being named as recipient of the Wilmington Good Guy Award, which is deserving of recognition by all the citizens of Massachusetts. And it's signed the 11th day of May, 2001, Jane Swift, Governor. And I've got one more. and it reads as follows. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the House of Representatives, be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to Richard Grinder in recognition of your receiving this year's Good Guy Award. Over the course of this year, you have been instrumental to the Wilmington community by playing a large role in the Boy Scouts, the Congregational Church, and various other organizations and groups. Also, you have been part of the fabric of our great town. This quality that you have shown, this quality of humility, will always hold you in good stead with your fellow neighbors in the town of Wilmington. We thank you for your contributions to this town and wish you the best. The entire membership extends its very best wishes, expresses the hope for future good fortune, continued success in all endeavors, and it's signed by Thomas Finneran, Speaker of the House, offered by James Maselli, Chairman. And let me say this once more. It's a great honor for me to be here tonight to pay tribute to a gentleman like you, and may you always continue to have an imprint in this community.
There'll be a 10-second pause while I fix the microphones. Okay. My own fault for going out of order. I'd like to take a break 1 second. Hey, Barry Fiorenza, is he in the kitchen?
No,
Barry.
I have the same problem.
We're very pleased this year. This meal tonight was excellent, and it was because of Barry Fiorenza and his wife. In the Uptown Deli. Barry's specialty was the white and black chocolate mousse that's served tonight, okay? Now, if I say this tonight, I get a free submarine sandwich tomorrow. Meatball, Barry. Okay. Thank you. Nice job tonight, Barry. Excellent meal. The next, we're going to hear from the Boy Scouts. I was hoping there'd be short ones. Mr. Chris Ferraro.
Harry, I'm sorry, did you say you wanted the 2 hours one, or did you want the 1 hour, or did you just want the 30-second one?
I think Senator Tarr's in a hurry tonight. Give us the 1/2 hour version.
Okay. Good evening. I am Chris Ferraro, and I'm representing the Boy Scouts of America from the Greater Lowell Council. I've been a Scoutmaster in Troop 56, and I've had the pleasure of working with Dick for a number of years. It's kind of tough to beat what everyone else has already said, because I think humble, sincere, kind of mysterious, actually. When we sat down to talk to Dick, about Dick, and we had the whole group in, and Harry's leading us, and I'm sitting there with all these people that I really don't know, and the gentleman on my right says, well, we have to do something serious because Dick is very serious. And I said, okay, that sounds fine with me. And I turned to the gentleman on my left, and he says, you know, Dick is a very funny guy. We should do something very funny. So I knew we were going to have probably a little tough night trying to come up with something for him. As far as scouting is concerned, we hold an Eagle ceremony, luckily often enough recognizing scouts who have made the rank of Eagle. And the greatest pleasure I have every time is calling Dick up to read the Eagle charge to the scout. It is that moment that the boy really learns what is required of him. And to me, I can think of nobody finer who represents what an Eagle Scout is than Dick Grinder. Dick is constantly working with the boys, working with the adults. He's totally committed to the scouting movement. And yet, last night when we had our dinner for the council, and all these people who were getting up, standing there and receiving a 10-year or a 5-year pin or a 20-year pin, and I looked at Dick and there wasn't a mark on his uniform, no pins, no nothing. And yet I'm sure, based on even what you've heard tonight, Dick has probably spent close to 50 years connected with scouting. And yet he doesn't care. That's not important. His own position is not what is important to him. The fact that scouting continues and the fact that scouting is important to the youth of today, that was what matters to Dick. The other thing, we brought a little gift up for you, Dick. It's kind of a twofold thing here. Oh, thank you. It's nothing really personal, Dick, but see, every time we went camping, Dick would come next committee meeting or the next troop meeting with the stack of pictures, and he would hand them out to us, and we would probably waste half the night going through all the pictures that Dick had taken from the last camping trip. And then somehow they always ended up with me. And I went through and I have this humongous stack, a big box of Boy Scout pictures, Dick. So we thought what we could do is make it a lot easier for you and give you a digital camera. And now you can just send us pictures over the internet. But I do have two pictures to circulate if anyone would like to see them. This is from 1987 and 1988. We finally found some pictures of Dick in scouting when he wasn't behind the camera.
Thank you, Chris. We've now reached the point in the program where the music starts. I'm just reading from my notes. Judith Rachthoff is a longtime friend, and she's here to lead us in song, she tells me. Nobody leave your seats. The doors are locked. I don't see an instrument. Do we stand or sit?
You can start sitting.
I can start sitting, okay.
First of all, Chris, I think I have as many pictures at my house as you have at your house. I first knew Dick through the Congregational Church, but when my oldest son reached the age to become a Cub Scout and I went to the town-wide scouting recruitment night, who was there but Dick? And that started many years in scouting for the Rashdorf family. And one thing I always remember from the very first pack meeting that I went to on is the Grand Old Duke of York. And I'm asking all of you to join me, and I expect your full support. When I go like this, you stand up. When I go like this, you sit down. Easy words. The Grand Old Duke of York, he had 10,000 men. He marched them up a hill and marched them down again. When they're up, they're up. When they're down, they're down. When they're only halfway up, they're neither up nor down. Okay? The Grand Old Duke of York, he had 10,000 men. He marched them up the hill and marched them down again. And when they're up, they're up. And when they're down, they're down. And when they're only halfway up, they're neither up nor down.
have a half-hour Mickey Mouse impressions now. Is there any more out there like this? Actually, this is going to be a two-part program, Dick. We're going to do the Grand Duke of York, and then we're going to do the bear hunt. But no one can remember the lyrics. And I had a great line. My line was, before everybody backed out of the bear hunt, was, we all know what a bear does in the woods, but we don't know what Dick Grinder does in the woods. It would have been funny as hell. We have to skip that. Now we're going to go right from the singing to the dancing. Never, and I've been doing this for a few years, have I had so many calls from people, Dick, that just called up, approached me tonight, they wanted to come up and say something. Not groups, just personal friends. And one of them, I asked her what her association was with you. It's on the up and up. She's representing square dancing. Her name is Patricia Puma. And here she is.
Richard, we're gathered here tonight at a table that's round. But do you remember when we were a square? We'd dance our feet off, then off to Bickford's for a little culinary fare. Richard looks like a quiet, gentle man, but do-si-do and grab his gal, he certainly can. Remember the years that we square danced together? You were lots of fun and danced as light as a feather. We don't see each other often, but wouldn't miss coming to say hi to our old friend Richard, Wilmington's Mr. Good Guy.
You know, I can still hear the drums from the Grand Old Duke of York. Now, let's go from something funny and dancing to let's talk to one of our office holders here, Senator Bruce Tarr. Bruce, I'm told, is in charge of designing the new feeding room for the twins of Mrs. Swift. It's referred to as a milking room. Now this is a little room off to the side. The big room up there in the State House is where they've been milking you and I for years. Senator Bruce Tarr.
I need to make a technical correction in the program. I've been sitting with the De Palmas, and they told me that all Mickey Mouse impersonations tonight would be done by Harry Cunningham. So I don't know what that meant, Harry. But it also was told to me that while many of the bridges, as you have mentioned, have been named, we're saving the big dig for you because it never seems to end, and it has everyone in public life concerned. So, and on a last Harry Cunningham note, for those of you that have seen the new show Weakest Link, we're told that the female host is retiring and that Harry has been retained to begin next week. It is great to be with you once again for what I think is one of the most unique and certainly one of the most profound ceremonies that any community that I know of has, to recognize one of its own that contributes so much to so much of the life of the community. I was wondering about a couple of things, but one of the mysteries I have solved, and that is that the reason Dick doesn't wear his badges from the Boy Scouts for 5 and 10 years is that if he did, he could no longer walk erect, and it would cause back problems. But I am kind of concerned, Dick, and I'm wondering why it was that you began artillery training the same year that you got married. More on that from Mrs. Grinder in just a few moments. But I did want to come also and bring a citation. And I know that Harry hid it up here very conveniently somewhere. And I do want to present it. But when I do, I also want to just say seriously that it seems to me, and I don't know him nearly as well as all of you do, but it seems to me that Dick Grinder represents one of those truly unique individuals in America that we have all come to recognize in recent years through the writings of people like Tom Brokaw and through the increased awareness of people in my generation, which is much different than people from Harry's generation, about what truly represents some of the American heroes that as history has been written, sometimes we forget. And there are people like Dick Grinder who recognize their duty to freedom and democracy and to the country, but they don't make a spectacle out of it. They accept it as their role, and they give that service, and they do it with no fanfare, and then they move on in their life. But when they do, they make public service and giving something back second nature. And the only reason it's second nature to Dick Grinder, from what I know, is that his commitment and his duty to his family is first nature. And so it's remarkable to come and recognize someone who does have that remarkable quality of humility that we've been talking about tonight, and that really has been able not only to give of himself, but to strengthen the organizations that in turn strengthen Wilmington. So we talk about the Congregational Church, we talk about WCTV, you talk about an organization near and dear to my heart, the Boy Scouts of America. And you see that the impact of what Dick Grinder is having on this community is very difficult to measure accurately, because it's not only the things that he does every day, but it's the inspiration that he provides every day. He makes those organizations stronger, he makes the town stronger, and not only is it what he does directly, but what he inspires everyone else to do. And as we might say in the Boy Scouts, the path that he blazes for others, which make him truly, truly an incalculable asset to this community. So I want to ask you, Dick, to join me up here so I can give you this citation. It's okay, Harry, just move over a little bit. It's all right. It doesn't matter, Dick. So I have a citation from the Senate, and it reads, "From the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the State Senate, an official citation which reads, 'Be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to Richard Grinder in recognition of the honor of being the recipient of the Wilmington Good Guy Award. And be it further known that the Massachusetts Senate extends best wishes for continued success. We hope that you survive all that Harry Cunningham will present to you this evening, that this citation be duly signed by the President of the Senate and attested to and a copy thereof transmitted by the Clerk of the Senate.'" And the rumor is this was actually signed in the lactation room, which used to be the Senate President's office. This is signed by Thomas F. Birmingham, the President of the Massachusetts State Senate. It's attested to by our clerk, Patrick Scanlon, and it's offered by myself, State Senator Bruce Tarr, on May 11th, 2001. And Dick, I'm very pleased to present this both to you and your wife, who I know has stood behind you and helped you all of these years, and really a gratifying thing to know that we in government tonight can present a citation to someone who has and will touch so many people in such a profound way, and know that he stands among us as a friend. Congratulations.
Lactation room. I can never pronounce that word. Thank you, Senator. The next speaker we have tonight is representing the Conservation Commission. He's a member of the Conservation Commission. He's also a member of the Open Space and Recreation Plan Committee. His name is James Morris. I've never met Mr. Morris before, but the only note I have is he is just back very recently from Africa. Indeed. He left Africa. He went to Africa 20 minutes after he got out of the town meeting here in Wilmington. There must be some funny line for that, but Jim, I can't think of one. Mr. Morris.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much. This is a tough act to follow. All the speakers that have come before and talked about how wonderful Dick is and all the great contributions he's made to our community, I am left speechless. I mean, there's so much I've learned about Dick Grinder and everything else he's done in his life that I never knew before. That is just fascinating. I know Dick from having served on the Open Space and Recreation Plan Committee, where we've been working for the last 18 months to prepare an open space and recreation plan for the town of Wilmington that will allow us to become eligible to obtain matching grants from the state for purchase of open space and that sort of thing. So Dick and I and other people on the committee have sat through 18 months of twice a month long, not boring, exciting, interesting meetings, plowing through all these state requirements until we actually finally have a plan. One of the other things I learned about Dick in the course of that is his interest in the Boy Scouts, how much he loves the outdoors, and he loves our beautiful natural resources we have in this town, the town forest, Silver Lake, all those kinds of places. And for those of you who sometimes get insomnia and turn on WCTV and see some of Dick's videos, you know, where he's wandering through the woods, taking pictures of the town, the streams and the forests and the trees and so on. I really appreciate that. You know, late at night when I get home and I can't sleep, it's absolutely wonderful and fantastic. But we're a little bit concerned about that because with all of Dick's wanderings around, we're concerned that something might happen to him and we might lose this great asset in our town. So what we decided to do was give him something that he could take on his various trips. So as you can see, this will help protect him in the great outdoors. This is a sweatshirt with the town of Wilmington, you know, locating all the important landmarks in our town. And for Dick's benefit, we have also modified it so that when he's out in the woods and he gets lost someplace, if found, please return to. So when they find him in the woods, they'll know exactly where Dick belongs. And we hope that we never lose him.
I know. Tell Tom Bazaar, a small table, Tom, good going. The man is popular, he needs a bigger table. I'd like to take a break just to introduce a couple of people who've been with us quite a few years. They represent WCTV. It's Don Laird and Ron Bukhari. They film this, it's not live, they're going to tape and they'll show it sometime though. If you've been around Wilmington long enough, they show the good guy at some odd times. And I got the date tonight, I checked already. This tape is going to be shown October 19th at 2:30 a.m. right after the film of the Methodist Church Bean Supper and just before the Wilmington High School Linfield girls freshman volleyball game. So you get a chance, don't miss it. Now here's a gentleman I normally save for last because I always forget him. When you listen to him speak, you'll know why. He's the quasi-chairman of the Board of Selectmen here in the town of Wilmington. The official vote is not going to be taken until this week. And I call him a personal friend, and he can't get back at me because he's my insurance man. So I have him in the palm of my hands or the palm of my pocket, one of the two. Ladies and gentlemen, the selectman from the town of Wilmington, Bob Kane. Bob doesn't move too fast. And we all know politics in the state of Massachusetts. Victory goes to the swift. That was terrible, wasn't it?
I'm glad you mentioned that the election's not till Monday night, so they could have used you in Florida when they're tabulating the ballots down there for the presidential election. I'm here supposedly to represent the town of Wilmington, but I think the people in this audience and the people of the town of Wilmington represent Wilmington. It's you people, all the good guys that are here and have been represented, and those that will come in the future. So on behalf of the Board of Selectmen, we thank you all. And to be selected by the good guys, to be a good guy, is really a very special honor. So the Board of Selectmen go to great expense to, Harry said he's going to fill with money, so, all right. And it's offered to the good guy, Richard A. Gander, Jr., and we wish it very well. walk fast when I leave.
Don't run, Bob. When they said a bullet for Bob Kane, they meant a vote in the ballot. Non-politicians here, Jim. I wish to thank the Good Guy Committee, by the way. The aforementioned Tom Bizzarro was in charge of the seating arrangements here. And Dick Grinder and I are not speaking anymore because he stepped on my foot 4 times. Okay. We have another friend. As I said, many people called, wish to say a word about Dick. And one of them was the fellow who did the blessing this evening, Bob Dwyer, Bruce Dwyer, Bob's kid brother. Bruce Dwyer. And he's listed as a friend. Well, there he is. The name threw you, huh? Yeah.
I'm better looking than my brother. I don't represent anybody. I don't represent any group tonight. I'm just fortunate enough to be able to call Dick Grinder a friend. And I met Dick about 30-odd years ago when he was descending the stairs from my cellar because our respective daughters were taking violin lessons at the time down in the basement. And in hindsight, that was an excellent place for them to take lessons. When I think of Dick Grinder, there's a proverb that comes to mind, and it's one of my favorites of the 25th chapter of the book of Proverbs. A word fitly spoken is like apples of gold in frames of silver. And Dick Grinder is the kind of guy that provides a word fitly spoken. For a number of years, Dick and I were in a men's group that met Saturday mornings at the Congregational Church. And we discussed things like religion and current events and issues that pertain to men and gave men a chance to discuss things as men and to share those common concerns that men have that we don't have a chance to share with the general population. And as we looked at these and we shared struggles and concerns, the thing that really struck me about Dick as I look back on that particular time is that Dick was a tremendous listener. That Dick would sit in a group and he would listen, but he would also share. And when Dick spoke, he was like E.F. Hutton. You wanted to listen to what Dick said because Dick had a tremendous amount of common sense and a tremendous amount of insight. And if you were having a particular struggle with any number of things, Dick was there to listen. And Dick was there to reach out to people in that group. And one of the other, not only was he a good listener, but you heard it from Miles earlier, Dick is faithful. Sometimes it would be just Dick and I meeting on a Saturday morning. And we came to accept that time as a very, very, very precious time for us to get together, to share as men. And looking back and listening to Senator Ty, he could have been a student in one of my classes describing what it is that makes America the kind of country that it is. That we have people like Dick Grinder who give a tremendous amount of their time to the community. And my guess is that right now, Dick is probably getting a little bit uncomfortable. He's, as you have heard, he's very humble. And he's getting a little uncomfortable, and I think he would probably rather be any number of places other than hearing this. But I think it's important that we have an opportunity to share with Dick how we feel about him as a friend and as a human being. And Dick Grinder is one of those 1,000 points of light that the first President Bush talked about 8 to 12 years ago. And I'm very, very happy and proud that I can call Dick Grinder a friend tonight.
When I come in the hall, this next speaker said, Harry, when you put me up there, put me up, slide me in some place so I won't be noticed. So I'm going to put you in Rick Barry, right after the man who quotes the Bible. You were hoping for Jim Naselli, weren't you? Representing Camp 40 Acres, Mr. Rick Barry.
I've known Dick for quite a while, which I'm sure is about half as long as most of you have known him. Quite a few years ago, when I was a little boy, Charlie Gilbert asked me to come to a meeting at Evelyn Kaminsky's house with some people from Camp 40 Acres. Well, having been involved with the Boy Scout organization in Wilmington for many years and being one of the few Wilmington residents that actually knew where the camp was, I was curious enough to attend that meeting. Well, little did I know then that that vague invitation would put me in the position of being on the board of directors of Wilmington Junior Camp Incorporated, better known to most of us as Camp 40 Acres. For many of you that have served on boards and committees in town in the past or currently, you may ask yourself, how do I get so involved in these things? Thanks, Charlie. I think at this point only Charlie and Dick are longer serving members on the board than I can't actually figure out when Dick joined the board. I keep saying, I believe it was 1980, and he says, well, it was a time before that, so he'll have to tell you when he got on board. But and it was at that first meeting that I could now officially call him Dick. I knew him from Boy Scouts when I was younger. He was in the opposing troops. I was in Troop 63, and he was in that other troop across town called 56. They're still here. 63 is not, so. A community has a lot of great people that make it work. Webster's 9th. Is this the music time here? I have to go. The Dukes of York. Webster's 9th Collegiate Dictionary, I think the first 8 were absolutely horrible, but this one's a pretty good piece of Webster's work. Defines community as an interacting population of various kinds of individuals in a common location. One kind of person that helps make a community a better place and probably describes most of us is that person who never hesitates to throw a few bucks in the hat at a Little League field, or has your car washed at the Masonic Hall to help out the DeMolay, even though your car doesn't need washing, or buy a 50-50 ticket at the band concert and give the band back their winnings, except, of course, for the $5. And or takes out food out of their shopping cart at Eli's Country Store to put in the food drive for the food pantry. Then there are those that own small businesses in town and donate to good causes without hesitation. We recently, well, in the past few years, we had the National Guard come up to help the camp. And we found out about a week and a half before they were coming, that they were coming. And they only required a few things. They required us that we purchase anything we needed, like gravel and fuel, and you laughed, Dick. You remember that. And food. Well, we thought food was the easiest one to do. For 24 men, lunch and supper for 2 weeks. And we were going out of town. So we scrambled to get some letters to all the businesses and see if we could get some of these things that would make it essential for this project to happen. There were some people that sent us checks almost as soon as the request came to their door. It makes me proud, and still makes me proud, to see a community like Wilmington come together like that. Restaurants, stores, and manufacturers, the same people that help out at all the community needs, whenever the community needs help. Most of their help comes without even asking, and I hate to slight anybody by mentioning those businesses that all helped us out, but we know who all those people are, and they'd probably be embarrassed if I mentioned their names here tonight anyway, and besides, the list got lost when my cellar flooded about 2 months ago. I don't need to remember, I do remember those who didn't help, but I also remember those people that were there when we needed them. There are other people that belong to the various benevolent societies that give tireless hours to the betterment of the town without asking anything in return. You know these people by their group name usually, and rarely by their individual names. There are those that serve the community in high-profile positions, such as selectmen, school committees, members, town workers, representatives. Their job is often thankless, but it's always done with the will of the people in mind and goes above and beyond the job. And there are those that serve on lesser-known committees like the Conservation Committee, the Finance Committee, Historical Commission, Permanent Building, 4th of July, Community Fund, Food Pantry, the Memorial Day Committee, the Good Guy Committee. I'm sure I've forgotten, again, so many groups here, but I won't embarrass most of us by asking you to stand up, because I'm sure most of the people that are here tonight have served on many of those committees, or still do serve on a lot of committees, and fit into one of these categories of those that help make a community what it is. Then there's that person that volunteers his or her time as a coach, a scout leader, a parent at the school, or a member of a committee that you really rarely hear about, such as the Open Space Committee, or working for WCTV. There is some gratification that they'll always tell you, oh, it's a lot of fun. These people do it for the children of the town and the citizens of the town. Sometimes they go into it because the kids were involved, and they just keep on doing it. A story came to mind of my son's baseball coach, and we were talking about how old our kids are, and he said, well, my youngest is now 19, so that tells you he's been coaching 18 more years beyond when his kids were involved. So these are the kind of commitments that these people make, and this is very typical of a lot of people that are involved in the leadership roles in organizations like Wilmington Junior Camp or the Boy Scout Group, and they spend hours of meetings at cleanups, working a booth while the rest of us get to enjoy the carnivals and with our families and friends. They're the glue that makes the model work, that holds the community together. They're the unsung heroes that make such a community. Dick is one of those unsung heroes. 20-plus years of service to Wilmington Junior Camp Incorporated, which is a nonprofit camp dedicated to youth of Wilmington and its vicinity, is just one of the many things that makes Dick Grinder such a worthwhile recipient of this year's Good Guy Award. Thank you, Dick. Now you're probably wondering what this is. We had a caretaker up at the camp. He left a lot of things. There was a broom attached to this, Dick, but no, this is actually a walking stick. Brought to us by Doug Cheney, and you can have it for a few minutes. And Charlie's going to take it over, and we're going to fix it up for you so that we can put a bottom on it, and you can enjoy years of walking in the town forest and the camp.
Okay.
Hey, Joe Hodka.
Yeah.
He was kind of long, wasn't he, huh? Holy God almighty. And he quoted the dictionary. Quite a group. The next is our big theatrical production, okay? It's going to top the singing of the things, okay? We're going to find out, but it's on this page. It's over here. Oh, yes. Here we are. The group from the executive directors of WCTV, the training and production coordinators, and the entire group led by Ruth Kennedy and Amy Bro and Satis. They're about to put on a display, a film, or something, we hope. They're not going to do that. You are. Make up your mind. Okay, I'll get out of your way. We make a wonderful group.
Yes, we do.
You're going to speak first? Then?
I'll speak first.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I haven't known Dick nearly as long as everyone else here has. I mean, we've known him for, oh boy, maybe 5 years, which isn't that long, I guess, when it seems like everyone else here has known him for most of their lives, or substantially longer than I have anyway. Dick first came to WCTV, I think it was 1995, and he immediately took every single class we offered and worked diligently to learn all of our equipment, and immediately just started videotaping everything around town, and I mean everything. And if anyone's watched our channel, probably every other program we have on was something that he has worked on. And we've heard them all named, you know, Walks in the Woods, The Bird Feeder, which is one of my favorites, meetings, lots and lots of meetings, and 4th of July activities, all kinds of stuff. I mean, he really has taken to heart our mission, which was to bring events that people don't have an opportunity to go to all these different things. So our effort is to make sure that people can watch them at home, and he's really taken that mission to heart and has worked so hard. And I can't even tell you, you see him out there working with the camcorder, but that doesn't even begin to cover the amount of work that he does when it comes to coming back to the facility and editing, and you know, it takes hours and hours sometimes to put some of these projects together, and he's probably at our facility almost every day. And I know Peggy's giving the thumbs up, because I know that she frequently calls and says, "Is my husband there?" We're like, "Oh yes, he's here." And on the days that he's not here, we're like, "Where's Dick? We haven't seen him today. Is he okay?" You know, so we'll call. Are you home? Are you all right? We didn't see you today. So he really is at the facility all the time working on projects, and really epitomizes what a volunteer is. And to us, he's probably one of the best volunteers. He was a recipient of an award we gave him last year in memory of one of our members who passed away, and that was the Jim Narduzzo Award for Volunteerism, and that was to acknowledge all of the hours and hours of time he's volunteered to our organization. And to hear all of the work that he's done for everyone else's organization is really outstanding. Going back a little bit in history, when he first came to WCTV, we had heard it was because he was going to get a free T-shirt. He's worked really, really hard for that free T-shirt, and he did actually get one. It was a white, you know, cotton jersey T-shirt, little logo on it. And we thought, well, you know, he's worked really, really hard, so let's get him a better T-shirt. So Dick, we got you this. You are WCTV's good guy, and may you wear this on your many projects around town. And just to give you an idea, actually, if I could invite Amy Bro up here. She's our training and production coordinator and works really hard. And actually, if you could introduce the next portion of our presentation, Amy will discuss for you.
Before I go over that, I really didn't know what I was going to say tonight, because all I could do was think to get him here. So, you know, I told him that he had to help videotape tonight. And Peggy, of course, played it up and said, "On a Friday night? They want you to do it on a Friday night?" And he said, "I guess so." So the only thing that he required was that he could use one of our new digital cameras. And that would be the way that he would come. So I assured him that he'd be able to use it. Sorry, you didn't get to use it tonight. But getting here, you know, I had the whole plan. Harry knew I was going to call my cell phone. And it was going to work, and you were all going to know when he was going to come. And through technology, I was out of the zone. So, oh well, it didn't work. But we got here, I went to the bathroom 2 times? 3 times, something like that, trying to call. And Dick was really good. And when we got out to the car, I opened up the door for him. And so then he went around to the driver's side of my car, and I'm like, "What are you doing? I'm driving." And he said, "No, I'm opening the door for you." So that's the kind of person he is. But seriously, he, like Ruth said, you know, every program, Dick has had something about, or he, you know, congratulates all of our volunteers, because he is a true volunteer and he really helps out whenever he's needed. And through Jim Buckley's help, who's very handy at constructing things on a moment's notice, we decided to construct our own award for him. And we made the Golden Tape Award for Dick. hand painted and everything except for the plates. So we really would like to give this to you, Dick, and we appreciate all that you do. And since all of you, not all of you have cable, I'm really sorry about that. You might want to get it soon. But those of you that don't have it and haven't seen any of his shows, I am going to be able to show you a little bit of what he does at WCTV. All of this footage is provided by Dick without his knowledge, and you'll be able to see it right now.
Oh, God.
There's supposed to be music. Yeah. All right. Yeah, always Dick. Woo! It was not supposed to be a silent movie, but thank gosh I put words in. So thank you very much, Dick.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. The little bit serious note, I over the years have always made fun of Jim Maselli and Bruce Tarr and Congressman John Tierney. They're politicians, they're office holders, they're very easy to make fun of, obviously, because they give it back. And I've never ever said anything bad about anyone or made fun of anyone I did admire. And it goes for Jim Maselli, it goes for Bruce Tarr, and also goes for John Tierney. Now, John Tierney is another one, Congressman Tierney, who's always here, like Mr. Tarr, Mr. Maselli are. They take a night out of their evening. They pay for their tickets, by the way. They certainly do. In fact, everybody here, I pay for my ticket. I don't like that part. But John Tierney, Congressman Tierney, is normally here every year. He normally speaks. Many times he has to run out, but he always makes it a point. I think he's caught in Atlanta, Georgia. Is he? No, he's not. No, serious. I was serious. He's in the state? Oh, he is. But his replacement is someone well worth waiting for. Cheryl Gresick. Is she coming up? No. I'd make fun of John, but not you. A very attractive blonde lady who's got some nice things to say about probably myself first.
Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome. Thank you very much. Okay.
I've been sitting over there freezing at the table. Bruce, I found the hot air. Sorry about that. You were so nice to me. This is very exciting for me tonight because this is the 4th year that I've come to Wilmington's Good Guy Awards, and this is the first year that I knew the good guy in advance. Usually I meet them here and then become friends, but Richard and I are already friends. I visit AIM, and Richard is always really wonderful in making me feel welcome and comfortable in anything that I need, and I really enjoy coming to AIM and visiting with you and the seniors and with Judy. I'm also pleased that, well, unfortunately, that the congressman couldn't come tonight. He actually was out in Chicago earlier today, and he has presented a bill for retirees we're very excited about. So, but he did call me before I left the office today and wanted me to congratulate you and to present you with a citation. Now, I don't think it's going to fit on that table. But if you could stand up and come next to me, I promise I won't bite you. This is wonderful. I'm so happy for you tonight. This is a certificate of special congressional recognition presented to Richard Grinder in recognition of his outstanding and invaluable service to the community. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Sorry there, Harry.
Okay, no problem, Joe. Yeah, that's right. What do you mean next year? She's not out of the hall yet. How can I be mad at her and Mr. Tandy? They're presenting a bill for retirees? My type of people. Travis Reynolds. Travis, are you there? I didn't realize that we had I knew we had a youngster, but I thought he'd be awake. I just received another magic note. All the lights are off in the parking lot and all that sort of thing, but they said Travis Reynolds is here with his father, Ed, and his mother, Cheryl, and they have something to say about Mr. Grinder. And Travis, I was told, was nodding off. It was probably all the politicians speaking, Travis. But not Cheryl, not Cheryl, no. This is set up for you, Travis. Okay?
I'm going to fill in for him. He's a man of few words. I don't know how well I do in politics. I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet. I've known Dick 31 years. It's extremely hard to summarize 31 years. I'm going to try to keep it to like 3.1 minutes. Those of you who know me really well know I can talk a starving dog off a meat wagon, so I'm going to keep it really short. My first experience meeting Dick was back at Troop 59, the other troop, back over at the Methodist Church. A long time ago, I'd say it was around 70, we had a first camping trip. One of the first things you do in Scouts to learn to cook on an open fire is to have a tinfoil dinner. Mine didn't turn out too successful, so he shared part of his with me. So I brought a gag gift. Please don't eat this. You will gag. It's a look, but don't cook.
Is that the original one in?
This isn't the original. It's a recreation. You can keep this on your Scout shelf with everything else. This will last you to the next millennium.
Thank you, Ed.
We have one other presentation. I'm going to let my son do it because he's the next generation of Scouts. Before I go into that, just a couple comments about Dick. This would probably summarize it for all you dads out there with daughters. He's the type of guy you'd like your daughter to marry. They don't make too many of them like that. And secondly, I'd like to thank all the grinders for letting us have them for this long period of time where we borrow them. I promise not to call it dinner anymore, Peg. And good to see you again, Gooba. Something we had on the scout table, I think this kind of summarizes Dick last night at our district awards meeting. 100 years from now, it will not matter what my bank account was, the sort of house I lived in, or the kind of car I drove, but the world may be different because I was important to the life of a boy. Our plaque, this is presented just from all Scouts everywhere that lives you've touched. I know you've been all over the country. There's hundreds of us out there. You kept a lot of us on the road to Eagle Trail, and we were successful. This is for outstanding service and recognition of exceptional leadership and outstanding service. This is not only for the Boy Scouts of America, but it's also for the United States. I'm going to let my son present it because he's the next generation.
I just wanted to say one thing. I had told Travis when Bob Goss approached me that he could come tonight to a special dinner, and he bugged me for 2 weeks. What are we doing? Where are we going? I didn't dare tell him because we see Dick constantly at Sunday school and with Cub Scouts, and I was afraid he might tell him. So he came home Wednesday after school and he goes, "Mom, what am I doing?" I says, "I can't tell you." He goes, "No, I want to know because I get a chance to sleep overnight at Dennis's house Friday night and I really want to go." So I ended up telling him. He goes, "No, Dennis can wait. I want to be with Dick."
Finally, there's one last thing I've carried in my pocket for a number of years. I'd like to give it to Dick because I know he'll take care of it. It's a Scout coin. One side shows the Scout oath. The other side is the Scout law. It's a little used, but we're a little used too from all the times we've spent in the woods.
There was a couple more speakers, the aforementioned Bob Goss being one of them. The AIM group is about to come up. The former good guy, the outgoing good guy, Joan Searfoss, and then, of course, the guest of honor. But before that happens, I mentioned the good guys, what they've done for the town of Wilmington. There's quite a few of them here in the hall tonight, not all 37. Some are not here, of course, some have passed away, but I'd like to mention the ones that are here and have them stand up, and if you'd hold your applause, you know, till they're all up so you don't embarrass Tom Bazzara. Tom, I mentioned being Polish, he designed this table to hold all Dick's awards tonight. Mother of God. So if I forget any of the good guys, I'm going to go and see if I can pick them off by name who I recognize. I know I saw Mrs. Sharp Brennan, and where'd she go? She's in the back of the hall. Mrs. Sharp Brennan. Mrs. Brennan Sharp. I get one of them. Right?
Well, nothing's wrong with him. I used to be Miss Sharp. I'm now Mrs. Brennan.
Every year we do this. Please sit down. I'm only kidding. No, stay up, stay up. Also I have Judy De Palma over here. Judy's right here. I have her husband, also recipient Bob De Palma. We have Paul Bova sitting beside her. We have Phyllis Vieira, Frank Safaza. In the back of the hall, we have Jim Buckley And we have the aforementioned Tom Pizzara. And that does it. Oh, Ivan is there. Oh, wait. What are these guys out? What's this, a free meal for these guys? Ivan Palmer down here. Frank Kelly up here. One of my favorite people in the whole world, Frank Kelly.
Harry, you forgot one.
We don't mention him. We don't mention him in public.
Harry Cunningham, ladies and gentlemen.
That was an off year, Tom. We couldn't find anybody. The next group is there's a little bit of skullduggery here, and I'm a little embarrassed. I know Dick has been getting nothing but accolades, but we received a letter from the AIM group, and the AIM group was, they're going to speak in a second, but the AIM group signed a large list. It was a nice letter, and everybody signed it, because AIM stands for the elderly and the handicapped, which Dick is quite helpful with. But they signed. It was very impressive, and I called up the AIM group to, thank them for all 157 signatures. And they said there's only 84 people in the group. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, speaking for the AIM group, this is something we never do here. We never do it, never been done before. We bring back a former speaker tonight. We're going to start recycling them. We're going to be here forever. Mrs. DePrez. She opened up with her letter. She also recommends the AIM group here in town. And she has something to say. So we're going to lower the boom one more time. Here we go. You are taller than Jim.
No, I think Jim is actually a little bit taller than I am. I represent the...
I feel really good.
Oh, thank you.
It's the head.
I represent the AIM group, which in town helps the handicapped and anyone who would like to come, just for conversation, games, and we have a free meal that we put on a luncheon for the group. And everyone seems to enjoy it. So we'd like to present Dick Grinder with a plaque here which says Good Guy Award presented to Dick Grinder in recognition of contributing outstanding contribution to AIM, May the 11th, 2001. There's a cover for
This gentleman asked to speak early on, as soon as he found out that Dick was nominated and subsequently elected. He's an extremely good friend, he tells us, of Dick Grinder. We're going to find out right now. His name is Bob Goss. And he's bearing gifts.
Having fun yet, Dick? Dick, last time I saw a silent movie was in the 1930s. Talkies is the new way to go. I just want to, I'm just here on behalf of the Congregational Church, basically unofficially, I guess. I wasn't appointed, but I'm taking that responsibility in Miles' absence to congratulate you on your good guy status, and also thank you for all your years of service at the church. I know it's been mentioned, moderator, and so on. I really have learned a lot from you in terms of being moderator, and you've been a great example. On a more serious note, this good guy thing, now correct me if I'm wrong, this is a very important award. And it's a very prestigious award and so forth. So when we found out that Dick had been elected to this, we decided, just like any other, you're sort of like an ambassador to the town from the church and so forth. So we decided we had to do an investigation, as you would do with any ambassador, like Salucci just went to Canada and so forth. So they have to do an investigation. Things like education, finances, your Army experience and so on, which we've heard about. So we carried out the investigation. And we did find some interesting things. but we're not, your secrets are safe with the Good Guy Committee, at least for the next few minutes. Or, we're not going to tell anybody about the well, Peggy about the money. And we're not going to tell anything about the pre-Peggy days down at the base. Or, and we've decided not to tell anybody about the Vietnam experiences. Latest experiences we've seen, we'd better not tell anybody about that. So, but what we found was, we did find that although you're a very good guy, you're not perfect. And so we decided that although there was, you know, a lot of things, like one of the gifts I have for you is sort of in relation to the investigation. Just let me show you that first. As with any investigation, what we needed was a cover-up. And so we hope this is going to suffice as a cover-up. But actually, the real reason we got this for you, Dick, is because on the corner here, it says our own good guy, which I see somebody already stole that saying. I don't know. And there's a picture of the church here. Anybody who can't read it, I wanted this done in bigger type, but I couldn't afford it. And then it says 2001 Dick Grinder. And what you can do is you can put this over yourself and dream about the good old days or whatever as you sleep, or you snooze or whatever. So that's your first thing. Don't get up. I got other stuff. Yeah, we'll do this all at once. I don't want you got that. Now there was, as I said, there was one thing was came out in the investigation, and we found out that you really weren't perfect. And as you know, with problems, Dick, I don't know if I should let this out, but as you know, we're among friends. As with problems, the best thing is to face up to them, right? And I'm sure I know you're capable of this, but what we found out, even though here's the secret. It turns out you're not a great handyman. Although Dick lives in this old house down on Middlesex Ave, Bob Wheeler or Norm Abrams, he's not. So, well, I know I have this on good authority. I won't tell you who told me, but it turns out that I'll give you one illustration. A few years ago, some time ago, they had some new carpets put in the house. And as you know, everybody has this experience. They get the carpets, and the people putting the carpets in, and they find out the doors don't work. You know, the doors are too long. So Dick said to Peggy, I'm going to take care of this. Oh, I'm sorry, I let it out, Peggy. He says, I'll take care of this. This is no problem. So he took off one of the doors, and he cut some wood off. He put the door back on. It was still too long. Took it off again, and he cut some wood. Put it back on, it was still too long. And finally, Peggy decided to tell him, Dick, you've got to cut him on the bottom. The bottom, Dick. He was thinking of cutting the rug shorter at first. Get the lawnmower, but he thought better of that. So anyway, we came up with a solution for this. We came up with a solution for the indiscretions, the cover-up. We came up with a solution for this. Now, I told you, and I told everybody that, in fact, we did do an investigation. This is, nobody believes me that we did. And we came up with something from your past that I don't know if you've seen. Do you recognize this?
Yeah.
This is a saw that Dick lost about 20 years ago. At least that's what I'm told. And he doesn't know where it's been, and we've come up with it. So we've got this saw to help him with his handyman situation. But this is not just any ordinary saw. What we've done is we've reconditioned the saw, we've digitized it, computerized it, and hand-painted it. And if you can see it from where you sit, this is now a seeing eye saw. Okay? So in other words, this is guaranteed to do things like cut straight lines and so forth. And what we're going to do is we're going to give it to Dick. This works all kinds of ways, like it works upside down. It works when you're moving. Well, it's a seesaw. You know, you get it. Yep. Now, well, I told you I learned a lot from this guy. That's the kind of humor I've learned from this guy over the years. But in any event, I'm going to present you with this seesaw. And by the way, I found out, you know, they have handyman candy bars down at Huntley's? They do. And I couldn't get one, but I've been told. And they wrapped up in handyman, they're like near the fertilizer or whatever. And you can buy them, you can have them in the garage, and nobody, and you send it in with a check for $19.95. That's a good deal, that's half price. And a check for $19.95, and you get a whole year of these things. And then, after that time, I'm sure you're going to be a better handyman than you are now, all right? So, that's all there is in the bag. But in any event, Dick, what really, after all of this said and done, what I'd like to do is just congratulate you on your good guy status. I appreciate your good guy status. Enjoy it. We love you. And by the way, good luck with the house.
An addendum to the table. One thing you all miss sitting out there that I've been blessed with here is watching Dick get up and down at the command of Peggy. Up, Dick. No, not now. Up now, up now. Move. West Point, Dick? Nah. A non-commissioned officer you must have been. You're taking on as well. The aforementioned Peggy Grinder, wife of the good guy of 2001. Peggy. Hi. Yeah, you're on top. You got to talk over here. So we not hear you. What have you been doing all night?
Sort of
You've
listening.
been listening. How many pages?
Just one. That's it.
We got to be out of the hall by midnight.
Well, I thought about the whole family coming barefoot, you know, like the cobbler who takes care of everyone else and his own family has no shoes. But actually, Dick has been taking care of us. We remember some good things. He loved to read to Ellen Rudyard Kipling. He would miss a few meals playing tetherball with his son and many other things. But he's been a good guy to us, really. So we did wear shoes. But I want to also tell you his very favorite story has in it Trip, Trop, Billy Goat Gruff. That was his very favorite story. We live in Wilmington because of Mr. Connor. Does anyone remember Mr. Connor? It might have been Mr. O'Connor, I'm not sure. He was at the 4th of July building, which at that time was a library. Yep. And he was so awesome. They filed Ellen in a file cabinet. She was in a little, she was a baby then, an infant, 6 weeks. They'd put her there and then we'd go around and look for our books. And Dick just thought he was such a nice guy that we bought a house in Wilmington because of that. Dick and Richard then joined Troop 59, and then they moved over to 56, which I'm sure you've heard by now. And he's a registered independent. I don't know what that means, but I know that he calls me or we talk to each other and ask each other who we're going to vote for so we can cancel each other's votes all the time. I thought that was rather amusing. I have 2 guests for Dick. One of them is, you know how we've been supporting Dr. Heller. You keep losing your glasses all the time, and I finally got you a chain for him. Well, now he's having trouble with his sunglasses. So, here. There's a pair of sunglasses with a rope on it. Also, as soon as we could afford 2 cars, he got a damn red car, which he had to have. And he's had red cars ever since then. I could tell you a lot of funny things about it. But the most amusing thing to me is he's so proud. It's a 94. He's got 34,000 miles on it. And he's proud he only fills it once a month. And at the price of that, I'm happy for that, though. So anyway, so when he got his first red car, I got him a a key case, and it had on it FF, Foolish 40s, because he had his silly red car. So now, honey, here's an SS, Silly 60s. We're proud of you, honey. And congratulations for tonight.
Years, right? 46 years, amazing. The last speaker before Mr. Grinder is last year's good guy, good girl, good person, Joan Sifos. Joan.
I'm taller, Harry.
Okay. Lots of notes, huh?
See what I have, Harry?
Oh, a few minutes, huh?
Okay. All I can say to Dick is, I'm sure you must feel tonight is really overwhelming. I know it was for me last year, and I know you're going to be very happy when WCTV gives you the tape of tonight, because then you can really enjoy what went on this evening and remember everything that you don't remember tonight. Do me a favor, Ruth, Amy, don't let him edit it. I just want to say that I hope Dick enjoys as much the experience that I've had this year working with his wife Peggy, family and friends. I really met a lot of very, very nice people during this preparation for your roast. One thing I have here that I'd like to present Dick is this is an advance schedule for our 4th of July celebration, hot off the press. You'll have, over 6 weeks now to go over this with Peggy and figure out when you can find 10 or 15 minutes to meet on the Common that week. It is my honor and privilege to welcome Dick to this wonderful group of good guys. And I look forward to working with you in the selection of next year's good person, and also for many years to come. On behalf of the committee, I would like to present you with this remembrance of tonight. Wilmington Good Guy Award, Richard Grinder, May 11th, 2001, and the inscription, the engravement on the back, is a map of Wilmington. Congratulations.
Peggy, tell Dick not to sit down. Ladies and gentlemen, good guy, Wilmington's good guy, year 2001, Dick Grinder.
I hope you don't think it's too presumptuous, but I wrote down a few notes. I was really worried because I read the town crier, and it said something about some of the Wilmington good guys wore skirts. So I read through the article, and after understanding it a bit better, I felt better. Peggy's been working with me as long as we've been married, and tonight doing her best to keep me out of trouble. I tried not to step on Harry too many times. I noticed he kind of slid over up against the podium there, so I didn't have as good a shot on his foot. Like so many of you, my faith is important to me. I had the pleasure of having good parents, and my sister, who's a couple of years older than me. We got along as well as brother and sisters do. I remember being a child and finally turning 12, and I remember the names of scoutmasters. There was a Jay Stallworth and a gentleman named Tripp. There's also a Sergeant Waddell and my dad, who filled in as a scoutmaster for a while. My dad told me when my sister had gone to William and Mary, and my dad was, of course, paying for that. It wasn't free, even though we had gone in through Virginia at that time. And my dad said, you can go to any school you want if you can get in and if you pay your way. So he helped me look into the military academy, which you not only could attend, but as a cadet you got paid. The pay is probably the same way now, was 50% of what a second lieutenant got. At that time, a second lieutenant got $222.30 a month. So cadet pay was $111.15, and I was on my way. I graduated, and I made a smart move on November 27th, 1954, and when I married Peggy Fletcher. I don't remember, I think Navy won that year, but I still showed up for the wedding. Richard arrived in January 30th, 1956. He was born in Royal Oak, Michigan. We own part of a hospital up there. And from 1957 to 1958, I was in peacetime Korea. And I had been in the Army 3 years at that time, and that was the time you had to pay back at least 3 years of active duty before your academy time counted. So you had to make a decision whether to stay in or not. I decided to stay in. Peggy went home, and I went to the land of the morning calm. Luckily, the war had been over for quite a while. Just a little thing from Korea that made a great impression on me. I can remember watching school children walking in the early morning mist, and you could see for miles. And the children were walking across the fields, down the roads. These are small children and older children helping each other along. But they were going to school. It was important. There weren't any yellow school buses, weren't any buses at all. But it was important to them and to their parents. I had, before going to Korea, I had taken all kinds of air defense missile training. And of course, when I got to Korea, I had nothing to do with air defense, but I was well trained for it. We had
some other events. I went to Germany for 3 years. I went in 1962, October of 1962. For some of you, you would remember that. For others, you read about it in your history books. That was the time of the Cuban Missile Crisis. So it was a rather exciting time. Things I remember, a couple of things. I was on duty at a group headquarters, and this was the day after, well, it was actually the morning after President Kennedy had been assassinated. And I had to read the announcement of his passing, and then also mention President Johnson was now the president, to make it official. I remember that well. It was a day with a kind of a cold day, and Germany in the early morning can be kind of grim. A few months later, I had a better thing where I was up inspecting I used to visit the various air defense missile sites, and I was up inspecting a battalion operations center. Well, actually, I was on the way to the operations center, and as I was passing by a little section of a German village, I was attacked by a group of geese. And they were hissing and carrying on and telling me they really didn't want me on their road. So I guess that was an unreconstructed group that was there. Joe mentioned my being in Vietnam, February 67, February 68. I was assistant G2 Air, one of a number of them. That's a staff officer position. Staff officers are kind of like staff infections to the to the people that were in regular outfits. What I worked on was helping coordinate people to get photos and getting the information out after that. I had a classmate there who, I'll call him Joe, because that was his name. He got some other thing. He said, I have a few other things I'd like for you to do, and just to liven things up. So rather than sitting around in the compound there, he said, we have these investigations that we need people to go out and talk to the people involved and find out what's going on. So I got to see some other things within, less than 100 miles around where I was located. And that was interesting. Joe was always a big help to find things for me to do. I'd want to say on the one time I was out, and this is not a combat story, but I had a young man who didn't have, he had a pair of fatigue trousers, or actually jungle trousers, and he asked if I could see about getting him a better pair. The pair he had was really full of holes. And I got back, and I never really got back to him to get him a pair of good jungle trousers. So, is that my time? But he was nice enough to let me share a hole in the ground with him, and a little later chopper came in and we came out. My Bronze Star is without a Valor, without a V. It's because I did a good job, a meritorious job, no Valor involved, and I know with Joe Hartka, Valor is important, but I wasn't there. I was there to do my job, and I was glad to go. and there was no one watching when I kissed the ground when I got back. I've had a lot of fun. I've been given, so far, 69 years. And I know tonight as I speak, it seems a lot longer. But I've been happy to work with various groups. But I really don't work so much with a group as I work with people. And the people have been very good to me. Bertha DePrez's husband, Al, who's gone now, he got me interested in AIM. And Judy Raxdorf and Bob, we had a lot of fun in scouting. And Cheryl and Ed with Cub Scouting. So I would just want to say, as the Cub Scouts training says, KISMIF. Keep it simple, make it fun. Thank you.